Version 0.14 and version 0.15 saw the last boss AI changes, plenty of bug fixes, quality of life, and lots of other stuff. Let's begin. The camera will auto-adjust to watch a target when an on-hit cancel is performed with limit form using the right analog stick. This also applies when anti-form does its hold combo Shadow Rush of Thousand Claws. Inputs made with the right analog stick on anti-form now only consume MP once the attack's first hitbox comes out. This was done because it was very common for people to keep rolling the stick when trying to initially learn the form and consuming all their MP instantly. Wisdom form features a costume in the community pack inspired by Ralsei, courtesy of Revenir. In addition to that work, he's also done some more for Armored Knights outside of 1K Heartless, Surveillance Robots outside of 1K Heartless, Illuminator, Rabid Dogs, and Cannon Guns. The save point in Hall of the Cornerstone has been moved. You'll be needing this if you plan to attempt challenge mode Lingering Will. Multiple reaction commands can now be used even while airborne. I won't be showing footage of all of them, but here's the list. Vivi and Dark Thorn are both easier to hit because attacks directly in front of them could just miss them, and that's lame.
Good for you. Look which one of us is winning.
Similar to what I did with Light Cycle, you now have infinite HP during the Dragon Xemnas minigame. It's challenge mode time, baby!
That's more like it.
Axel 1 doesn't immediately die and has proper last phase behavior. He'll also be able to DM more than once.
Hey, do I ring any bells yet? Not bad, Boxer.
Barbossa received many more changes even though he was already insane from the previous updates. The primary focus was creating a few systems that correspond to his boss arena being one of the only ones not taking place on completely flat terrain. To that end, Barbossa can now do ledge cancel combos, choose to aim his gun into the air, leap into the air with his sword, and do combos against the wall instead of assuming the player has been launched away. There's more, but you get the idea. Demyx actually deals damage on challenge mode. Xemnas 1 actually deals damage on challenge mode, and both him and the data version have better situational awareness. Final Xemnas no longer has a seemingly bugged Force Revenge in Phase 1, instead choosing to do a quick laser pattern. He'll also attack faster during saber and kick sequences. Additionally, both him and the data version will immediately dispel your drive form before attempting to take your heart. I honestly wanted to do more with these, but AI that utilizes clones in this game are always a complete nightmare to reverse engineer. Same reason I never really bothered with Larxene. Data Xaldin's previously unused command grab had its codebase completely rewritten by yours truly because it was causing random crashing. While redoing it, I made sure it now pulls the player up higher as well, instead of sometimes remaining stationary. Lingering Will was already God with the other changes, but, you know, God is pretty fun to mod. So I expanded his awareness of his own moveset and your feeble mortal coil much more. He'll also jump around for setups. He can also make the choice to warp during the bow as normal or choose to save warping for the end and stand in place. Alright. Version 0.15 in particular was the Can I Fix the Remaining Boring Bosses patch. And so let me introduce a couple things I know you didn't expect. Grim Reaper 2 has received notable changes. I'm willing to spoil everything, so pay attention. I'll start with status changes. While in his cursed form, he now takes 50% damage from all forms of damage, and now flinches from attacks instead of having full immunity. However, when not cursed, he takes 150% damage. Now that I have fundamentally changed this guy just from 2 changes, this is when I build a more interactive yet skill-demanding baseline from here. So following these changes, additional status changes are that he is no longer immune to critical hits, increased maximum HP, will flinch for longer so combos don't drop, has increased stun time from Thunder, reduced stun time from Blizzard, and becomes completely sturdy when hit with these magics, only continuing to flinch from a different magic cast. That's all primarily numbers, but little details like this are the type of subtle things that once figured out encourage a player that pays close attention to actually mix up their combos instead of going for the same trick repeatedly. Now then, enough numbers. Where's the challenge? Here we go. When flying toward the target, Grim Reaper 2 moves substantially faster. When using wind attacks, it will now also fly toward the true position of its target. When any hit lands on the player, Grim Reaper 2 applies a curse that immediately dispels the current drive form.
Give me strength!
Grim Reaper 2 also has entirely different patterns in all of its phases and has 3 new attacks to mix in. We'll get into those new attacks now. Tailwind begins occurring in second phase. This vortexes the player in incredibly fast, disrupting their position. Soul Trail begins occurring in second phase. This unleashes a powerful attack with the anchor pendulum thing and sends a long trail of blue flames while warping. Arrow Storm begins occurring in last phase. This sets 3 long-winded tornadoes on the field that will spin its foes around within them when caught. The aforementioned curse applies to these as well. This effectively sets up zones to make Soul Trail feel more claustrophobic. It turns Tailwind into a potential damaging attack, and it places in the curse heavily by catching you in a persistent vortex. In other words, it enhances pretty much everything else with his moveset. Alright, that was a whole summary on how I think about boss design nowadays and try to build things upon each other. In case you didn't notice, I made him flinch instead of going fully invincible like the changed pirates as well. Bosses that are not interactive are boring as fuck, and so are mobs that try to be that way, and this applies to every Kingdom Hearts game. But I'll stop rambling about my hatred for large boss design now. Anyways, I won't be going into full-on explanation mode for the next one, but I will now introduce Hostile Program to you. Yes, Hostile Program flinches properly and for longer, has a proper revenge value system, has had several energy gauge rebalances, runs away less than will actually approach in addition to having different movement options, has hit detection, does this to the stage, charges in many different directions, will directly fight you in the air, has projectiles that combo while also attacking the energy gauge with them, overclocks itself in last phase, moving substantially faster and sending out more projectiles, but damaging itself every time it does this, and uses only 3 blue laser bladed patterns: Grand Cross, Energy Storm, and Obliterate. I think I've had one too many drinks. That's gonna do it for this entry. I will now be working on the PTSX2 release trailer. I hope you all share it around when the time comes and look forward to finally experiencing something other than Vanitas mod. I beg of you to make this my legacy. I put so much more thought and love into this one, and did my best to make something you want to play for a long time that would just feel so damn fun, and not something miserable! Play it!